Evening, children. I hope you all are fine. Today we are going to learn a new lesson. The topic of the lesson is the shoemaker, and this is an extract from a novel called uh, A Tale of Two Cities. The author of this story is Charles Dickens. He was born in 1812 and he lived between 1812 and 1870. He was the noteworthy author of the 19th century. His novels were appreciated not only for their plots and interesting characters, but also because they provided a commentary on the terrible conditions in which young children worked in factories. So, extract means it's a very long starting to the end, it's a whole long story. From that, we just take only a portion of it and read. And this extract is from Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities, a historical novel set in London and Paris at the time of the French Revolution. Yeah, I'm sure you all have learned about this revolution in the history lesson. Revolution means usually the common people, when they cannot bear it anymore, they fight against the government. That is the revolution. Dr. Manet, the T-E-T-T-E, it's silent. Manet. Dr. Manet is released from the Bastille. It is the famous French prison. Now we in India we say Dihar prison. It's very famous, and like that. In those days there was a very famous prison that was called Bastille. After 18 years, Dr. Manet was released after 18 years despite being innocent. So he did not commit any crime. He didn't do anything wrong, but he was prison for 18 years. Despite being innocent, he had been imprisoned due to his involvements in a secret concerning an aristocrat French family. That means a royal aristocratic means a royal French family. When released, he is looked after by a faithful servant. So he had a servant before he could go to the prison. Now, when he was released, his servant, a faithful servant, was waiting for his release and he was looking after. His name is called Defar. Here, the GE is silent. Defar. This extract, this portion of the story focuses on the touching meeting between Dr. Manny and his daughter Lucy. Okay, when she visits him with Mr. Lorry, an old friend, Lucy discovers that her father, whom she had believed to be dead, is alive but lost to the world. So, this girl Lucy is visiting her father, who she thought was dead, but he is alive, but he is lost, like he is not by himself. So, the girl was visiting, Lucy was visiting her father. That's a story. This portion of the story we are going to read. It's a long story, even in the book in your lesson. We are just going to read only two pages, and the rest we will continue in the next class. So, mostly this description only is given about the condition of the person. Okay. A broad ray of light fell into the garret. That means garret is a attic. Attic is a place in the first floor. It's a very small room, loft. It's not actually a room. It's attic. And showed the workman. So the broad ray of light fell into the attic and showed the workman with an unfinished shoe upon his lap. So the scene, the picture, what we are going to see is a shoemaker is sitting and stitching a shoe. Pausing in his labor. That means he's not continuously working very fast, slowly. Pausing means stopping, working. His few common tools and various scraps of leather were at his feet and on his bench. He had a white beard and raggedly cut means uneven, not evenly, okay, uneven, but not very long. A hollow face, hollow means it's an empty face, and exceedingly bright eyes. The hollowness and thinness of his face would have caused them. That means they are explaining to us, giving the description of his face. Because of his hollowness and emptiness, he is very thin. His eyes are looking bright. Maybe exceedingly bright eyes means the reason why the eyes are very looking bright. His emptiness in the face and his thin face is making it exaggerate, like making it look big. Okay, caused them to look large under his yet dark eyebrows and his confused white hair, though they had been really otherwise, but they were naturally large and looked unnaturally so. So, all this description is about his face. Okay, he had large eyes. His yellow rags of shirt lay open at the throat. So, rag means it's a very dirty, torn, old. Okay, that shirt he was wearing yellow, and to the throat means to the neck it was quite open, kept open, and showed his body to be withered and worn. That means he is very weak and old. He and his old canvas frock and his loose stockings and all his poor tatters of clothes had in a long seclusion, that means being away from direct light and air, faded down to such a dull and uniformity. Dull uniformity means everything is fade, everything is very old, of uh, parchment yellow, that it would have been hard to say which was which. So the whole paragraph describes about the old man, the shoemaker, his condition. He had put up a hand between his eyes and the light, and the very bones of it seemed transparent. So when the old people, when the light is coming to their face, their eyes cannot behold the light. So what do? Usually people, they raise their hand to cover the light so that their eye will be protected and they can talk. So, like that, when he lifted his hand, his bones could be seen, so transparent, so thin He was. So he sat with a steadfastly vacant gaze. That means a consistently expressionless look. That means we will say, no, only your body is here, your mind is not here. Like that, when he looks at people or the work or anything, it's like vacant, empty. Okay, like that he was looking, pausing in his work. He will sew for a little while, stitch, and he will stop, look around, like that. He never looked at the figure before him, that people. Figure means people. He never looked at anyone who walks in front of him, who stands in front of him, who talks. He never looks. Without first looking down on this side of himself. Then, on that, as if he had lost the habit of associating place with sound. So it's like when people come and stand in front of him, when they call, he will just look around. He won't look directly at the person who was talking to him. So he will look left, right, side by side, then he will listen to that person. He never spoke without first wandering in this manner and forgetting to speak. When people ask him questions, he is lost, like he is not able to recall. He just looks at that person, wondering what they are trying to tell. And again, he will ask them two, three times to come to the present position to and ask and answer them. Okay. Are you going to finish the pair of shoes today? Asked Defag, motioning to Mr. Lorry to come forward. Motioning means just showing signs with the hands you wave, no, come, move left, right, like that you move. That is motioning. Asking without saying come, just telling the signs. What did he say? So the shoemaker is asking. He did not get at first what Defag was telling. He's asking, what did he say? Do you mean to finish that pair of shoes today? I can't say that I mean to. I suppose so. I don't know. But the question reminded him of his work and he bent over it. So the question what Defar said is, are you going to finish? So he is now realizing, okay, they are asking me if I'm going to finish the work. So without answering, he just started to do the concentrate on the shoes. Mr. Lorry came silently forward, leaving the daughter by the door. So, Mr. Lorry has come here with a girl. We already learnt in the preface that it is Lucy. So, he has come and she was sitting by the door, leaving the girl by the door. When he had stood for a minute or two by the side of Defag, the shoemaker looked up. He showed no surprise at seeing another figure, but the unsteady fingers of one of his hands strayed to his lips as he looked at it. His lips and his nails were of the same pale lead color. And then the hand dropped to his work, and he once more bent over his shoe. The look at the action had occupied but an instant. So he just looked up. Already one man was asking him, that is Defag, whether he is going to finish the work or not with a pair of shoes. And again he looks up and there is another man. Okay, he is Mr. Lorry. Okay, and he looks at him and he puts down. You have a visitor, you see, said Monsieur Defag. Monsieur means in English we say Mr. To address a person, a man, we say Mr. And if they are young, like small children, we say master. But here in French, we say Monsieur, that means Mr. in English. Monsieur Defag. What did he say? Again, the shoemaker was lost, like he is not in his mind. What did he say? That time, Mr. Monsieur Defag is telling, here is a visitor. The shoemaker looked up as before, but without removing a hand from his work. So he is continuing to sew the shoes. So we will stop with this. In this, what we have learnt is about an old man. He is very poor and he is lost in his mind. He is not by himself and he is mending shoe. And here we are having a four people in the picture. One is the shoemaker, another is Mr. Lorry, another is a girl who is sitting by the door, another one is Mr. Monsieur Defang. They all are shown in this picture in the place where this old man is mending the shoe. We'll stop with this, and in the next class, we will finish the remaining story. So, children, I want you all to read and learn the meaning so far what you have learned in this lesson. Have a good day, children. Bye.